Hi there. We're going to talk about the morning star, the evening star, and kind of gods and goddesses in history. It's pretty fascinating, really. Now, many goddesses were known as the evening star throughout history. A few gods were the evening star too, but more of them were the morning star. I think it was to separate the male gods from the female goddesses, but I really don't know. Jesus said, I am the bright morning star. That's in the Bible. This is kind of funny, though, because the evening and the morning stars were both the same star. Not really a star, though. Number two is the fact that it was Venus, the planet. The evening star was actually what we call Venus now, and the morning star was what we call Venus now. So calling it a star is wrong, and calling the morning star a different star than the evening one is also wrong. But I guess Jesus didn't know that. A part of it was because we didn't discover the first planet until 1781 AD. That may have something to do with it. That planet was Uranus. Or Uranus. I don't really know what's the correct pronunciation, but one sounds like urine and the other one sounds like Uranus. But anyway, all of these gods and goddesses, they were kind of like copycats grabbing for power, I would say. Like Atun is the morning star now, Jesus is the morning star now, and can we forget? No, we can't. How about Lucifer morning star? TV show. Anyway, let's start at the beginning. The first evening star that we know about was the Sumerian goddess Inanna. She existed about 4100 BC. Now you do realize she's fictional, right? All the 18,000 gods and people's heads on earth today are fictional. Inanna, probably. We'll just say probably, okay? But Inanna was a goddess for at least a couple thousand years. When the Sumerians looked up at night, they saw their goddess right there shining brightly in the sky. Wouldn't that be reassuring in a frightening night without any streetlights? So you understand, the planet Venus existed in Sumerian times, but the planet was not called Venus then. The planet was called Inanna. It was named after the goddess Inanna, and they thought it was a star. Okay, I think we got that clear. Now, beliefs are often not original like that. The Akkadians copied the idea of the evening star Inanna, but they had a different language and different words and names in their culture. So the evening star became Ishtar. And I think that you've probably heard of Ishtar, but Inanna was the original. I don't know why she's not more famous. But at least Inanna was the first goddess that was written down, that we have some record of. Goddesses probably existed for tens of thousands of years before Inanna. Okay, so, as written goddesses of the evening star, let's see, first was Inanna, then Ishtar. And as time went on, the West Semitic people named the evening star Astarte, or Astarte. I don't know how to say that. It looks like Astarte, but I've seen it without the E sometimes, so then that's why I said Astarte. Astarte? I don't know. Anyway, this was their goddess in the sky. Okay, so we'll skip some goddesses in a couple thousand years, and word got to the Greeks about the latest evening star goddess, and that evening star became eventually Aphrodite. And I'm sure you've heard of Aphrodite. She was like the goddess of love and fertility with the Greeks. But all of the goddesses were love and fertility, and some were goddesses of war too. Now, then the Romans learned about the evening star, and it became Venus. We still call it that, and we know it is not a star but a planet. And I believe as long as we keep all our information on the internet and we don't destroy anything, the name Venus for the planet will stick. But we, at least in the United States, blah blah, it is so hard, but at least in the United States, don't have a goddess attached. But our culture does have a god attached, or rather a son of a god, who the writers of the Bible were trying to get put up in the sky. I don't know if you know it, but But not only stars, but whole constellations are of ancient gods and goddesses and stories that were attached to them. So, of course, Jesus is the morning star in the Christian religion. Yay, Venus! You know, it's like Venus was like gender fluid throughout time, just becoming female, male, gods, goddesses. Just, you know, Venus did it all, I tell you. But anyway, I know I could just confused you all then, but okay, you know, have fun with it. I found a website, and I wish I had saved it, showing all of the goddesses and gods who were the planet Venus. I know there were at least 37, so Venus had at least 37 different names on the internet, but there may have been more, and I hate it when I can't find, you know, a site that I went to, and, you know, it's just like, I really tried, but the 37 goddesses, actually, they include a couple of gods. And you know who they did not include? Of course, they did not include Jesus as one of the mythical gods that were called, well, that were planet Venus. I believe they were referring to the evening and morning star gods and goddesses as mythical, and somehow they thought Jesus was real, so they left him off of the list. Imagine that. But I have to tell you, a morning star was actually named Phosphorus at one point. There was a Greek god Phosphorus. You know, that's an element in a mineral for strong bones and teeth. So I just thought that was funny and interesting. I thought I'd bring that out. But just think about it. When you look up at Venus, generally in the evening, you see that beautiful big bright planet. Think of the 38 mythical goddesses and gods that were that planet going back over 6,000 years at least. Now that's really pretty cool. That stretch of history and all the gods and goddesses. I mean, there is something really cool about that. Even though they're all mythical, it's kind of amazing. Humans. Anyway, I'm off.